Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I got another spooky movie review for you guys, and today I got Saw 5. This movie was rated a 5.8 out of 10 on IMDb, and I haven't mentioned them so far in this series, but I figured I'd at least mention that Rotten Tomatoes scored this a 13%. But I think this movie is a 7.5 out of 10. Not a bad overall movie, but definitely so far the worst of the series. And it's unfortunate because some of the aspects of the previous films don't necessarily seem to be in this one specifically, but I do like the fact that the traps the traps in this movie, it's supposed to be them trying to work as a team, but they don't know that they're all supposed to get to the end by the end of the games. Now, I don't know what it was, but just by the opening credits alone, it just did not feel like the normal Saw movies. It felt different. It didn't feel as rewarding to the conclusion of it. It was kind of almost easier to predict in a way, and I know that is kind of because I've seen these movies so far, and so I kind of understand and have a wrap around how the story is going to progress. Now, I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. I go back and rewatch movies all the time and know how they end and find enjoyment from it. But something just did not fit right within this movie to make me really enjoy it, and that was kind of a little disappointing. But overall, though, it progressed the story, and that's one thing I will give it a credit, and that's why it is a 7.5. I was originally going to give it a 7 out of 10, but really thinking about it, I enjoyed the story progressions in different parts of this movie. Once again, I love the fact that it still ties all the movies together, and it also ties up loose ends that might potentially be created with this story progressing. Now, at times, I felt like this movie, the story wasn't quite linear enough, if that makes sense. And I felt like it gave away a lot of overall information early doors in the game compared to how it seems like throughout it there's hints and there's these different things, and I miss hearing the voice from for Jigsaw as he's explaining the game. I miss that being more in the film. I know it happened, but I felt like the traps were too spread out for my liking. And I also do enjoy the fact that even though they were spread out that way, it was kind of interesting because it led to what would incriminate the detective that was catching on to who the assistant of Jigsaw is. But there was a lot of callbacks to the other films in ways. And you see a lot of looking back in time and looking back what previously happened, which I don't mind that, but still I like to see more with the traps. I don't know. It just, at least to me, felt like the traps could have been a little bit better. They weren't bad by any means, but overall, I felt like this movie had probably so far the weakest traps in the series, which once again is the reason why it's getting knocked down a little bit, more from being possibly an 8 to 9 or even a 10. It's these little aspects that make a Saw film so enjoyable. And I feel like even if you rank them on a scale and stuff, I don't see people putting, or at least I don't think people would be putting Saw 5 up there high, because it almost, in a way, like I said previously, it doesn't quite sometimes feel like a Saw movie. It kind of just feels like every other kind of horror movie, but it just so happens to have the attachments with the name Saw. And that's kind of disappointing, because when you want to see a Saw movie, you want it to feel and seem like a Saw movie. I don't know how the story is going to progress at this point forward. I have not seen the movies. I know that there are 5 more of these movies that I will be watching. And then I will, of course, throw in some other horror movies and whatnot. But overall, not a bad movie. Will I watch this movie again? Yes, if I am rewatching the entire series. Will I go out of my way to watch it again on my own, separate to watching it all in one go? Like, probably not, honestly. But there could be a situation where I guess I could see myself watching it again. And I'm not saying it like I'm going to avoid watching this movie. I'm saying it more in a, I'm not going to go out of my way immediately to rewatch this movie. If I want to put on a Saw movie, this will not be my first choice. Probably not my second, third, fourth, or maybe even like fifth. I don't know so far. It's not going to be my first option for sure. It's not going to be the first one I choose. Now, if someone did choose this as their first movie, there's nothing wrong with that. I want it to be said, if you do enjoy Saw 5, it is okay. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but if you enjoy it, that is awesome. Still things I wish they would have done better, and I would like to go into more details about that, but still, once again, I'm not trying to spoil the full movie. I know it's been out for a long time, so there's no real spoiling, but still, to avoid the off chance that someone is watching this and they've not seen Saw, I don't want to spoil that for them. Definitely is kind of interesting where they're going to move forward with the story, like I said. And I don't know how. I don't know. I'm kind of confused in a way, because I definitely see why they continued it after 4, but it almost kind of felt like it really didn't need to so far. But then again, I don't know what's going to happen in the next films. I'm excited for that. But that's pretty much it for today's video. If you have any horror movies you guys want me to watch and review for you guys, let me know down in the comments below. And yeah, you guys have a great rest of your day.